Easily customize and save $652 with Liberty Mutual. He's got it!
When painting a face, you can see some standard colors in the flesh tones usually. It's not that obvious, and you have to look very well. Old men, for instance, they have more obvious these colors. Women less, children less, but always there is something to be seen. And I'll show you more or less what are the basics of these three zones of flesh colors in the face. What colors I use for this example. I start with making the three light colors for the forehead, the more yellowish one, so there is ochre, white, and a touch of terra rosa. And I make a string with white. That's my color for the forehead. Now I make a light color for the cheek, where there is more red in, terra rosa and white. Also the string, the white string. For the third, I prepare first the gray one. Ivory black and titanium white. That makes a sort of gray, but I know this has a bluish character. Third one, I start with titanium white, a little bit of terra rosa, and some of this gray. You see, I hardly use any black in the shadows, but in the light zone for the demonstration, I use this gray. Now, what I need is a shadow, transparent oxide red, Acrylic green, a little bit more, and a touch of cadmium red deep to make it more reddish, warmer. Shadows are warm. That's maybe too much red, so a little bit of green extra, and I can start with the portrait. Right. I just make a portrait out of imagination, more or less, to explain what the three colors in the face look like. I start with this shadow, and here we go. Chin, half of this size are the eyes. From the eyebrow, the half is the end of the nose, and this zone, this area is into three. Right. So here were the eyes. The eye socket. I start already with some shadow. It's only the simple explanation. A shadow under the nose, a cast shadow under the nose. Wrinkle here. Something of the start explaining the three colors. First, on the forehead. And I said there is some ochre to be seen. And why there is ochre, there is not so much blood over there. Here on the temple, maybe a little bit more down. Now the red for the nose and the cheeks. Let me add a little bit more of this. And you see, I just simply block in the whole area. I don't pay attention so much to a good likeness because, well, I do this from memory. Under the eyes. On the cheeks there is more blood. Remember, if you come from outside in winter time, these two zones are really red because of the blood over there. Now, the third color is the grayish one. On the upper lip here. So let's forget the whole lip. The chin. And here is more combination of the three. So that's the starting point for the three basic colors on the face. The ears never can be too red, I always say, so why not do it like this? It's a very thin wash. Right. First I do again the deep shadows to get a sort of solid image. And I start with the hair. If you need black, don't paint black. I give the man black hair, and black is transparent oxide red or burnt sienna and ultramarine blue. Makes a beautiful black. And if you add a touch of green, it gets warmer. You see, it's a dark hair, dark color, and no black. And I try to make the darks always transparent because it's easy to add on top more contrast. I'll tell you later, darks are easier to make darker, and lights are easier to make lighter. So, that's for the hair. Well, let me do the same accents for the eyebrows.
Hey guys, my name is Daniel and I created this painting, but I didn't start here. I used to never think of myself as an artist or even think that I could be one, but I stumbled across Kevin Murphy and I started training under him just for
More or less, I don't hang around so much here. Okay. The receding plane towards the background is a shadow, a warm shadow. So, going to the shadows are warm. And dark for the eye socket. I forget about the details. You see the eye socket. Make it simple. Well, anyway, I want to show it very simple. Give the man a real eye so he can see. More or less here and more or less there. I soften it a little bit. It's very simple, yellowish, reddish, grayish, but there is also a volume. So let me come back first on the forehead. I think I need a little bit darker over there. But still I want to explain that it's here sometimes, not always, more ochreish. On the temple, sometimes there is more green. Here, the turning away towards the shadow part, the bow ridge, always a soft connection. The eyebrow here has some gray. Well, let me do first some lips. I make a mixture of these reds, a little bit higher. Connection here. The bottom lip usually is more bluish, so I add a touch of ultramarine blue here. So this is my first stage. Now I continue painting the red part of the face. For instance, the nose. Nose, like ears, usually are more red. Oops, maybe that's too much. He's not an alcoholic. The nostril wing. This wrinkle, which is always very visible, I always make it lighter and more red. There is more temperature. I don't make them often so dark. Now the connection of the rounding here is always important to make it to make a good connection. reshaping a little bit all the forms. Blue, transparent oxide red, makes it black. And I keep painting now at random, but I think I need some accents. For instance, on the upper lip, here always the upper lip turns inside the volume of the lip. So there are two things, the lip ends, but the volume turns inside. So there is almost always a sort of shadow to be seen. Well, the filter, and let me make this darker. Here also this lovely corner of the mouth. It's always important to get these connections in the rounding of the right place. A sharp shadow is not that difficult to paint, but in the roundness there is always more soft connection, soft transition from one tone to another. And let me try to make the whole cheek a little bit more round. And I will add there a touch of green in this gray area. So first I do something for the neck. Maybe this is sort of okay. Continue with the temple. As I said, sometimes there is more green to see here. And I connect with the top of the cheekbone and the cheek. I want more temperature, so I go back to my color that I prepared for this gray, but a touch darker. Maybe darker. A little bit of ochre, of course. Some of this gray. That's what I mean. It's the shadow of the beard. Let's say the shadow of the beard. And here, towards the chin, usually it gets less colorful, more gray. So there's too much red still on my brush. This is what I mean. Look, there is more gray. It is, once again, very schematic, but just to explain what I mean. On the upper lip as well, there is hardly any red. On the chin, in the center of the chin usually, I mean here, there is usually more color. Not that much.
abortion legal. Stop Mark Robertson. Vote.
You know, lights are cool, shadows are warm, deep shadows are hot. Well, this can do for the highlight on his nose. Also, this part of the zone under the eye socket catches sunlight. Also, the cheekbone here. On the forehead also. You see, now it's sort of coming. It looks maybe strange, but you can see what I mean. First I do some more indication of the eyes, otherwise it looks sort of ugly. But little by little I'm getting to the end of my explanation. A cast shadow of the upper eyelid, usually a wrinkle over there, deeper shadow on the other side, so I add more green to the mixture. Usually if the light comes from this side, like here it does, this is the darkest part often in the face, so that's a dark shadow. But still it's a warm dark shadow. Bottom eyelid. Here maybe. Bottom eyelid itself sometimes is more reddish. Not too red, otherwise it looks as if the sitter was crying. But there is usually on this side of the bottom eyelid some more red and sometimes even more crimson towards the tear duct. Not too much, as I said. I don't want him to cry. I go back to the wrinkle because I need some more contrast over here. This wrinkle and this usually I make less, like I told you. A little red accent for the end of the nostril wing. Connect this shadow over there. Reshape the filter. There it's once again more gray. Where the lip, the upper lip turns inside, a soft connection. And the separation between the two lips, I make out of crimson and my dark shadow. I see people sometimes doing this with black or blue. Never do that. It doesn't match. You don't believe the whole thing. Make it a warm separation. Like the nostril itself, make it warm. Never use black or blue over there. It's killing, you know. It doesn't do the job. There is some light on his upper eyelid here, usually. You see little by little the whole portrait comes alive. And once again, very schematic information that I give you. Usually you see all kinds of colors, but this is the sometimes you can make the colors that you think you see. The likeness does not depend on the exact color. The likeness comes out of the relation of the tonal value. Has nothing to do with the color. Of course, you must have the good color, and stupid colors, they don't do the job. But well, now this looks still a little bit funny, and let me do some information on the ear. First, the ear. Ears never can be too red. Once again, so crimson here, the shape of the ear, more or less. Going down the ear is less red, so like this, ear lobe. When you start making it simple, it's easier to paint. Don't see it too complicated. Usually people see far too many colors. Well, I said I will reshape a little bit the forehead to make it acceptable. There is maybe a touch of red here, so I mixed them both. And here, where the volume turns into the eye socket, it's a round thing. There is more shadow. If the man doesn't wear a hat and his hair catches some sun, okay, then he gets some suntan over here. But connecting down. Right, some lighter accents for these wrinkles. If you see wrinkles, only make one or two. That gives some information over there. Like in the cool highlights here, there is also some highlight on his hair, or highlight, let's say, lighter areas. I make a sort of mauve, crimson and ultramarine blue. Some of these here. Also, I didn't tell you that yet. Take care of these soft connections. Hair is soft. Try to imitate the softness. Here, there's a sharp, crisp edge, and here, hair is soft. Well, I'll do one highlight on his lip. I see there is a light on his lip still missing. Usually it's here. And why not? One there. White. this very short demonstration, only 30 minutes of painting, I'll show you how to divide the colors in the face. Sometimes you see more yellowish here, sometimes you see more red over here, and sometimes more grayish. So I really hope you enjoyed this video. Please don't forget to like it. One of my next videos will be on troubleshooting, how to come back on an already dried portrait, and also I showed you the newspaper trick. See you later.
When you're busy dealing with groceries, you can miss a few things. See, you missed that, didn't you? With Walmart Plus in-home, an associate delivers and puts away your groceries, whether you're home or not. Hi, Mike. No tips, no markups, no worries.
Hello everybody and welcome back in my studio. In this video I focus on how to start a portrait in oil. I give you a safe approach in order not to get bogged down in problems and pitfalls. Everything's hard before it's easy, maybe you know that already. I will help you step by step to make a better painting. I divide the workflow in 6 steps. First, the photography. I make a color sketch, then the drawing on the canvas. I do an underpainting. I mix some colors for the flesh tones, and then the final painting process itself. And in the very end, I show you how to make simple changes of colors without the need of repainting the whole portrait. Let me first show you all the art supplies that I used in this demonstration. My brushes, these are all bristle, bigger ones, smaller ones, and a long-haired Egbert one. These are synthetic. The bristle I use to load my painting with paint. The synthetic ones later when I add more paint on top of it, soft ones. The pointed one for the highlight in the eyes and the mouth and all these smaller details. Now the medium, I hardly use any medium. In the beginning, in the background, I used the same tubes or white spirit that I rinsed my brushes, and once there was paint on my canvas, I needed a more oily medium. I made a 50% stand oil and 15% normal medium. I painted this portrait on a simple canvas board, linen glued on board, and I made it off-white with 3 layers of gesso. Of course, I need a palette knife, and for measuring I use a compass, a normal compass, but I changed the iron pivots for toothpicks. And finally some test strips. First, the photography. I like casual poses. A photogenic situation can arise at any time and anywhere. I often manage to take a series of photos and the model doesn't have any idea I'm doing so. That was also the case when I sat in the garden table with my granddaughter. The beautiful light and her cheerfulness immediately inspired me. I chose a picture out of the whole series that I liked the most. The lovely face, good expression, the light, of course. In Photoshop, I blurred a little bit the background because I don't want the background to be very present. I don't want to be sharp over there, so in Photoshop, I made it out of focus. I decided to crop the image to a square. It will be a square painting. With this information, I go to the local copy shop and I make several prints, lighter ones and darker ones, on good glossy photo paper. Don't start from a lousy color copy. You see the difference immediately. Really you need good photographs. I see sometimes students coming up with really lousy copies and they say, well, I will manage. No, you can't manage. I also make a division with these guidelines, and I make a black and white copy, bigger one, without any quality, but on the same size that the canvas will have. So it's for me easy to transfer this size of the image onto the canvas. Now, if a painting is worth painting, it's also worth planning. I made a quick sketch on just a piece of linen that I had, just to make up my mind where to go with the colors. The flesh colors, what's in the flesh color? The most simple approach is the best. In the hair, it's fun to make a quick sketch. I don't pay attention to any details or any likeness. It's just fun to hang around with your brush and see where to go with the colors. Now, the drawing on the canvas. In my video, 4 ways of beginning a portrait, of which you can find the link below here, I show you 4 different ways to get the drawing on the canvas. I myself have used the simple grid method. I use a red color pencil for the drawing, and be sure that you don't take a watercolor pencil. It will dissolve in the water-based acrylic. And I don't use a normal black pencil because that also might show up later through the oil paint. Now, the question is, how many details do you need to have enough support when painting the actual painting? I would say the exact location of the eyes, the mouth and the nostrils. In the hair, I hardly make any notes, and I don't indicate the curves where the separation is between light and dark. Many of these lines will bother you later, so don't copy too many details. It just makes it more complicated. Then the acrylic underpainting. For the underpainting, I used acrylic paint, so water-based, burnt sienna, usually burnt sienna. The advantage of this paint is that it dries immediately, and it sort of fixes the pencil drawing. Think carefully about what you are painting and do it as precisely as possible. The most important details are the eyes, once again the eyes, the nostrils and the mouth. I call them marker points. Nailing them down is the most important goal of this underpainting. And you see, clumsy and overflowing thick lines are definitely not a very good help. I will prepare some colors for this portrait. The front of the face, one color, and the reflected light here, or it's not really reflected light, but it's the light that comes from both sides. And I will prepare just simply 2 colors. And this is the picture that I started from, and this is my sketch. And I think I must make it more this color, although a little bit less red. This is the palette that I start from. Ivory black, chromium oxide green, viridian green, ultramarine blue, cerulean blue, alizarin crimson, transparent oxide red, terra rosa, cadmium red deep, raw sienna, yellow ochre, cadmium orange, and cadmium lemon, titanium white, and maybe I will add some more colors. You will find this list also in the description below this video. I start with white and terra rosa. And what I would advise you to always use a test strip. Just this simple combination, just to know where you go. I said I will judge it from here, so this is too light. Add more of this red. And this is really time consuming, but in the end you will win this time. Strange enough, there is not so much yellow ochre in here, which usually is in this combination. And maybe I will add some. This is going to be a useful color. Now, to add some of the shadow, because there is some shadow over here, I add cerulean blue. Not so much. Starting carefully. So it makes it a little bit darker, but you don't see it is so much blue. Well, it's less red than over there. What I wanted, a touch of yellow ochre in it. Not that much. Take your time in preparing the mixtures. You can also start the day before in an airtight container in the fridge. Well, I think this is number one for the, let's say, the darker parts, the front part of
Adam Laxalt and the oil company's profit. We pay the price.
the face. The light that comes from the side, and there is white in. Also terra rosa, but more cerulean blue. It's a cool light. Well, this is far too blue, but let me see how far to blue and gray. Yeah, more terra rosa. I think this will do. Do I have enough? I doubt if I have enough, so I need a little bit more. Be sure that you make enough. You don't want to run out of paint. So this is the other skin tone. I need raw umber on my palette, so let me add it. I first make a statement for the dark greenish background and a statement for the red of her jacket. The background, it's green. Black and ochre makes it a lovely green, but adding some more of this green. And I dilute it with the same turps that I rinse my brushes, just to give it a wash. It's always important to start with the darkest parts, and I go a little bit over the edge, so there is too much paint over there. Later I come back with a lighter one of the hair in order to make a good connection. And I wanted here a little bit of grayish mauve, and I forgot to prepare the mauve, and I will do that right away. Mauve is always a very useful color, especially in blonde hair. You know, mauve is ultramarine blue, alizarin crimson, and white. Then you see what color it is. If it's too reddish, add more blue. I do this here, more blue. But to be honest, I need a darker one, so let me make a next one with less white. And also this color I dilute with the turps that I rinse my brushes. I will add a little bit of that raw umber. Simply block in a very thin layer. The thinner, the easier later to add different colors. And it's already pretty dark, and that's the statement that I need. I need to know how dark this will be in order to know how light this will be. Now, the statement for the red of her jacket There will be crimson in, but crimson is really strong, so I knock it down a little bit with raw umber. Also a little bit of terps to make it more fluid running. Is it too dark? Well, let me add some cadmium red deep. And I forget about all these details already. If you want to make a simple statement, start with simple blockings from the beginning. It's early enough to give it the right color. I doubt what I first decided to see a little bit of white of her shirt, but I think I'll do it like I did in the sketch, only this white tip. There is no need, you know, to copy everything you see. Paint what you need. It's up to you to decide where to go, what to show, and do you need these details? The hair. I start with the darkest part in the face now, and that's the hair. I start with raw umber. Just simply raw umber. And I don't pay attention to any single lock of hair. It's about the simple statement. Like always, I keep saying it, it's about the simple statement. I squint, I almost close my eyes, and I see what the bigger form is. I go on top of this edge to come back later with the lighter part. Here also prepare some soft edges. Maybe that's enough. Here it's lighter, and there is more raw sienna in. This is the sunlight source, so this is warmer here, here it's cooler. So I add a little bit of this mauve. That's too much. In the end it has to be lighter and darker, but I do the middle value. Also, I don't know how light this is because this part has to become more dark, so for the time being I leave it here, and on top maybe the same but a little bit more of mauve. Mauve in blonde hair is always the key to matching colors, and this might be too far, too mauvish, but I can handle it. Connect it here, connect it there, and every time I clean my brush, I rinse my brush, I add a little bit of ochre to this mixture. Maybe it's too ochreish. I get back to my raw sienna, I add a touch of this red. That's better. Maybe it's a little bit too dark, but we'll see. And I want to come up with a brighter color here, where the connection is to the light, here as well. Going down on the right side, it is becoming less colorful. I should have gone more over the edge in order to make a nice connection. Don't leave white lines. Don't leave these separated white lines between these planes, because it's difficult to get rid of. Of course, here I did because I need a strong light on her shoulder. Let me add first this a little otherwise. So maybe here's something softly. I do the light part of the hair. And of course, well, let me clean this again. There is white in, and there is ochre in. And I take my test strip and I see where to go. Always my test strip. Here I think there is a touch of this cadmium orange in. First, give it a thin wash. And it's really bright in color, but that's what I want. I make the connection, connect the things. On top of this color I can always add more white. And since I don't use so much paint, I can easily come back with more paint. Now you see this is really yellowish. Let me add a touch, a little bit of this mauve, and then you see how it knocks down that yellowish character. Simple, simple, simple shapes. And of course, the likeness is here, not here. So have fun with your brushes and your paint. Don't be afraid that you make a mistake, because what happens? Nothing. No. This is a basic statement for the hair. Let's go to the face. It's the most tricky part. Here we go. Be brave. Just block in the whole part of the face of this color. I go on top of the whole drawing, the whole underpainting, and I still see the underpainting. I know exactly where I am. So this is the basic color that I prepared with, diluted with some turbs. I go until the edge where I see that the lighter part is coming in. Here also I save for the reflected light over there. Well, it's not reflected, it's the cool light. You see, I paint on top of the whole underpainting. And I'm not afraid that I get lost, because I always see where to come back. Doing so, it's so easy. Let me say, doing so, it's more easy not to get lost in all patches of different colors. It makes it easier to get the whole thing running. Is it enough? Okay. Now I go to the lighter part that I prepared, and I wonder if it's the good one. Well, could be worse. So here I go. Just simply connect. I simply connect with the colors that I have already on my painting. Well, here it's going to be less of that color, so I mix it a little bit with that color, both, but it sort of disappears going down. Also, maybe it has to become a little bit lighter, but once again I'm
preparing a simple statement. Well, let me add some more color for the jacket here, because that's where the neck gets shape. Some mauvish lights on her jacket. So there is white. Well, maybe it's only a touch of, for the time being, crimson and white. And I didn't change brush, maybe you noticed, but I'm still painting with this brush, and number 4, Rosemary. Lovely brushes, lovely brushes. This is the first simple statement of the portrait. Now I take a rest. It's always important to get away from your painting, do something else. Maybe I take my guitar for a second. Now, when I want to continue with the face, I need to know exactly how dark I want this part. Otherwise, I can't judge the light over here. So here, I think I will make it a little bit dark here and here in order to know where to go with the tonal value. There was this mauve with raw umber. Is there in, well, I wonder if there is too much of that mauve in. Well, and now I'm also loading my painting with paint. Well, I didn't use so much paint yet. You see, only for the time being I prepare the connection with the face. On the other side as well, because maybe I want to change the little bit the color here. I go a little bit on top in order to have a nice connection later. Okay, I think this is dark and light enough. It's good for good tonal value. The green over here, I think the tonal value is more or less what I need, so maybe I would paint first the eyes. I take a smaller brush, a Catstone synthetic, and she has blue eyes, but blue eyes never are blue. Usually it's, well, I took the wrong one. Usually there is black in and white. That makes a sort of blue. It's too light, far too light. So I add a little bit of that raw umber. I don't want it really black. No, black can be killing. It's too dark. I completely see the underpainting here. And I just hover it on top a little bit. I don't want to make a perfect circle because that's nasty. I want to go backwards and forwards, give the form a little bit of shape. I go back with my bigger brush and I start on the forehead, going down to the nose and then the cheeks. On the forehead there is a little bit more ochre in this combination. So I make it a little bit more yellowish. Maybe that's too much. Oh. Is it too light? There is a danger that your portrait in the end becomes far too light. That's what I see often. People are afraid of the darks. So I need to go a little bit darker with cerulean blue, Terra Rosa, and this touch of ochre. Now I'm a half step darker. That's what I needed. I see all kinds of shifts, tiny little shifts of color, but I don't pay attention until here, because on top of the nose there is really another tone.
When you're busy dealing with groceries, you can miss a few things. See? You missed that, didn't you? With Walmart Plus in-home, an associate delivers and puts away your groceries, whether you're home or not.
Hi, Mike.
No tips, no markups, no worries.
Tonal value. I add cadmium red deep, and that's far too red. The solution often is a little bit of this chromium oxide green. Makes it a little bit darker. A little bit. Now I must take care, because I didn't draw this shape, so I must find my way whilst painting. And, well, you know, painting comes down on drawing skills. So draw as much as you can, because that's what you need. You develop your drawing skills. Going down, there is more color to be seen. More color, I said. And also more ochre. It's more yellowish over here. Since I have the basic color here, it's so easy to see where to go. The upper lip. And look, if I get lost and I don't see where to go with the nose, I wipe it off my brush, and there you are. Then I can see. That's the reason that I make an underpainting on the marker points, what I told before, the marker points, the nostrils, the eyes and the mouth, so you can find your way back more easy. And I'm still painting with my biggest brush, number 4. There is a lot of misunderstanding about the numbers of brushes. For one brand 4 is big, and for another brand 4 is small, but well, the transition of the form, the roundness from the darker parts to the lighter part, gets some more color. So there will be ochre and red in, but not that dark. So let me do that also. Still painting with a big brush, and I don't pay attention to the small details until the very end. The darkest part in the mouth, I use transparent oxide red and a little bit of crimson, maybe a touch of this raw umber. So don't use black or blue here, they don't do the job. And then the color of the lips, not too red, don't make lipstick lips. This little girl doesn't have any lipstick lips, So I add a touch of ultramarine blue to that red for the time being. Carefully, maybe it's too red, but there's not so much paint on. With a little bit of effort I can see the underpainting. Darker. Some indication for the nostrils. Let me do this with crimson and transparent oxide red, but very thin. And well, maybe my brush is now too big and the color is a little bit too red, so let me add some ochre and some green to knock it down. Here one, where was the other one? There. What I often see with students, that there is not enough soft shadow around the eyes. Usually you see the eyes popping out. That's what I don't want. So I'm going to build up some shadow parts over there. It's a sort of, well, let's say brown. What is brown? Brown is red and green to start with. And this is far too dark, so I add one of these mixtures. And yeah, it's too stiff. And I don't want to make such a strong statement because I don't want to make so much details. So many details. And I'm going to add more paint and more color. Red, this green a little bit. It's not dark enough, so more red and more green. Little by little I go towards my goal. Here is also that color that I prepared for this mixture. Green and red. On that cheek there is more red to be seen. Maybe a little bit warmer. And once I feel that I'm right, I can add more paint. Here is the softness because of the shadow of that lock of the hair, and that's what I have to prepare, because otherwise it will look silly as a sort of cut-out piece of paper. This is a very soft connection.
Yeah.
I add add some more lights on the nose. Maybe that's one of these, white and crimson, cool lights. Maybe there's a touch of blue in. What shall I do? Well, I try it with this one. Give it a shape. This part of the nostril wing, and it goes up a little bit. Later I can add more details, better details. This is a little bit more high. On the other side of the nose, let me make a more bluish light. There might be blue sky in this picture, so reflection of that blue sky. And if I don't like it, well, I take it off. Could be worse. And here also catches light. And wet in wet I can model my face. Let me do some eyelashes, otherwise it looks a little bit odd. There is raw umber here, and I don't want to make a straight line, but well, how to explain? I hover on top a little bit, hanging around the truth. I don't want to make such a perfect eyelash, because I think it's odd. I want to make a painterly statement, adding more raw umber to make it a little bit darker. And I see I can't add so much paint over there anymore. Maybe I have to come up with medium. This is more or less what I meant. And you see, I don't make a perfect eyelash. Now the white of the eye is never white. Let me make first a little bit of gray. Take this off. Neutral gray. Neutral gray is ivory black with a touch of ochre and white. And if it's too bluish, ivory black has a bluish character, I add some more ochre. Now, white of the eye never is white. Here we go. I make a little bit of this. I mix those two. You see, it's really gray. And that's where I start with. It's too bluish. Add some flesh color there. Once again, I just hang around the truth. I think it's too light, too light. It's always nasty if the white of the eye jumps out. You don't want that. Maybe a touch more of ochre. It's too bluish. In this stage, maybe you are afraid that you're losing already details, but I'm not afraid. I make a darker statement for the eye, mixing these darks. also here not making it perfect. You don't want to make a perfect circle. Adding some more darkness there. And I need these dark eyes because I have to judge what the surrounding area will be. I want this a little bit lighter and more ochreish. So still I have the starting color there. And I'm building up. That's where the painterly quality of a painting starts, building up with paint. Here is a soft take of, maybe I can prepare it like this, by not really blending. Blending can ruin your painting as well. Here it's darker. Also the shadow of that eye lock, of that hair lock, I'm preparing the shadow, not the lock of the hair. And then the eyeball has a touch of blue in it. This part, yeah, more mixture, basic mixture. There. Let me repair this area, adding more fresh color here and preparing a nice connection. Still I'm lucky that I have enough of this basic color that I can use to start from. Is it too light? It could be too light, but maybe I leave it that way. Adding some more red for this part and making it softer. Connection over there. Is it enough? Maybe it has to go a little bit more there. On the cheeks, usually I know there is some crimson. And I don't see it, but I can introduce it a little bit here. This one is wrong. Going to the wrinkle, it is a little bit more yellowish and more colorful. Maybe I should add Terra Rosa to it. But this is too reddish, but dark enough. If I knock down a little bit that red with cerulean blue, I'm getting there. Here on the left part of the upper lip, the part between the nose and the lip, there is some gray to be seen. And remember the video I made of
Murder spiking. Nevadans living in constant fear because Aaron Ford is weak on crime. Ford opposed a Crime Victims' Bill of Rights and supported softening the bail system to release more dangerous criminals. Vote Aaron Aaron Ford out.
3 colors in the face. People ask me, and that's, I made an example of the man. People ask me, is this also for children and for women? Well, you see, there is this, I added here a little bit of cerulean blue and it does the job. Let me add first an accent for the chin, otherwise it looks as if she has that volume. And I don't see I don't see my underpainting anymore, so I'm looking and I can't find it. Now, what I do now is a trick I can show you with my compass. And I start, for instance, measuring from the nostril. That's what I see, the nostril. And I go down until I touch here the chin. So, this is the size from the nostril to the chin. I changed the iron pivots for toothpicks so I can measure and mark with a wooden toothpick. Sometimes I use it. If I might get lost, this is a help. So I want to make this statement under the chin. And there is a little bit of gray over there. Here I have some gray left, but it's warmer. There it must come. More or less. This is the basic mixture that I had, so adding white and touch of ochre, coming in red. That's later. Around the chin also a touch of gray, and I don't use gray, but I use my cerulean blue. On the upper lip, also more light. Here and here. The side part of the nose also catches more light, and there is more blue. So cerulean blue in this combination. Especially here is a higher light. And I'm painting my paint in the wet paint. So this is really wet in wet. Now, when you have paint on your canvas, then it's easy to add more paint. If you don't have paint, it's difficult to keep painting. Here also, but less so, I sort of cross-hatch my paint into the amount of paint that's there. Deep, warm shadow. And it also gives shape to her chin. And I have the idea that this is far too much volume, so I can reduce this volume by making first this statement. Let me do it here as well. A dark, warm statement here. So for the time being it's there. I think the tip of the nose and this area has to become a little bit darker. Tip of the nose. There is burnt sienna. There is Terra Rosa. far too red, so I add cerulean blue to knock it down. Cerulean blue has a nice character. Is it dark enough? No. I need a statement darker. And I keep painting. I mean, I'm not blending. That's the word I was looking for. People start blending far too early. A little bit of nicer connection over here. There is a soft take off here. Connection of that hair. Maybe the light part of the face has to become lighter. Let me make a white, a light one, and this time ultramarine blue. And of course, it is not that really that blue, so let me add crimson. I don't know if I'm on my way, but I can add a touch of this lighter one too. Okay, let's see what happens. It's not that bad. Could be worse. Since I have paint on my painting, I can add more paint. And I'm looking more to the screen, as the screen picture has more light here, so that's what I'm looking now. Let's concentrate now on the hair. I start again with the darkest parts, and that's raw umber. And I paint a little bit over the edge to make a nice connection, as always. Let me add some raw sienna. There is more red in here. In blonde hair there is all kinds of colors, usually. And towards the light, it's getting orangey. Here also some of these reddish, well, is it red? Softer brush strokes. I think this is too dark, so come back on top of it with raw sienna. Well, that's for the darkest parts. Now I go to the light part that's reflecting the blue sky, and there will be that mauve in. So I make a mixture out of mauve and the basic of the darker parts. And maybe it's too mauvish. Could be. But I'd love to introduce some color, especially in the hair. Here it's light. Maybe I should add more of the background first. Let me do that first, because these brush strokes, you have to match with the background. Background was dark green, and I used ivory black and yellow ochre, but I want it to be more, a little bit more greenish. Or let me add orange to that combination, makes it also greenish. Some darkers. First here. And it's the value that makes the whole portrait within soon brilliant. Strong, I mean. And maybe I should be adding a medium, 50% stand oil, 50% neutral drying medium, just a normal medium, and it makes it a little bit more oilier, especially in the background and maybe in the other parts as well. There are lighter parts in this tree background, and maybe I should put on my palette a lighter green, or can I do with this one with ochre? Maybe I can. These accents of lighter parts of the trees, and you don't want them to make too much noise because it's background. Bluish. One here. Here I wanted this grayish mauve. I add some black to that combination, and also with medium. Or raw umber. Now going back now to the light part of the hair, that's what was my idea, but I had to make first some of the background. There is white, maybe a touch of this lemon yellow. Let me add also this medium. Too much yellow, so mauve is always the solution to knock it down. I don't pay attention to any curls. I mean, I want to explain only the hairdo in a vague, uncomplicated way. Just an indication of that lovely wild hair. Her mother said, "You want to paint her with that hair? Let me comb it first." No. I love the way it is. So you see me introducing some of the colors around. More yellow, more crimson. Now the trick is, you see 100, make 10. If you see 10, make 1. That's always what I say. Don't overdo this. other side it's less warm, there is more mauve on that hair. One of these, what shall I do? No. Well, maybe that's enough. I continue now with her jacket. There is crimson in, and that crimson is rather red, so I knock it down a little bit with Viridian green. And carefully I make the connection with the skin, with her neck and her chin. Maybe there is more red, cadmium red over here, so alternating darks and, well, it's the wrong one. Let me make more crimson and viridian and a big brush. Now I go back to the hair because actually the painting is about her hair, the fun of her hair. So I have to add more darks here and more power here. There is orange and yellow, and maybe I have to add another yellow, a yellow deep, instead of the orange. I continue now with the synthetic softer one, you know, the shape cat's tongue. In order to add more darks here, I can do it better with this one, because with the bristle there is a risk that I take off paint. So, and I'm using now more the medium, that mixture of stand oil and medium. On top of it I can lay some of these accents. This is pure raw umber. If it is too yellowish, I have to add some mauve. Knocks down the yellowish character, always. But that's too much. Come back with my just recent put yellow. This yellow is really strong. No, I think still it's too yellowish. Maybe some of the skin color would do the job better. Here we are. Because it's also skin that shines through. And the separation between some locks of hair are darks, so that's what I need there. There's more color in it. Let me add some. There is more orange. More orange.
Hell no. I do need orange.
don't like this connection, so maybe I can soften it like that. Now you understand why there is no need when copying the photograph on your canvas to make all these details like I showed you in the beginning. You find your way once you're painting. Now I add the lights. And I try to do it with my Acrylic, this one. And see how it works. Maybe this is too much of a circle. And try to see that even there, the light hairs have a color. It's not pure white. On the eyes, and that's about it. There is a highlight, but it's not pure white, so let me make it off-white with it crimson, not too bluish. If you make it really, really white, it can jump out immediately. Breathe, like Ronaldo doing, preparing his free kick. There are also I want to show you in detail how my portrait looks, the soft edges around the mouth, around the eyes. That's what I really want. Now, before I do anything else, I have to seal the painting. It's dry to the touch, you see, everything's dry. I seal it off with a retouching varnish, and then I might do some corrections. Retouching varnish, just a normal retouching varnish, not the final varnish, and with a soft brush, a soft varnish brush, I put on top of the whole painting carefully a layer of this varnish. You cannot see, I think, from that angle, but the power of the portrait, the power of the oil paint comes a little bit back. I can make some changes, and if I don't like it, I can take it off because it's already protected. You need some transparent colors, greenish umber, and maybe I will use alizarin crimson, which is also transparent. Transparent oxide red and transparent oxide yellow. And for this purpose you need a big watercolor brush. And I use this Liquid Original by Winsor Newton, a perfect medium for this purpose. It's a sort of jelly say I want to change the little bit reddish character. Imagine this would be too reddish, and I like to add more greenish. This greenish umber is really nice to correct the red. A little bit of this greenish umber, a very little bit. And be careful, because you easily can ruin the painting now. So in the shadow area, I apply this greenish umber. Now it's visible, but once again, take care, because you easily can ruin your whole portrait. You see, there is now a shine of green over here. Here a little bit, and I don't want to leave any marks. Maybe here some. It's hardly visible, but it knocks down a little bit the red. When I rinse my brush, I really must have a dry brush. And let me see if I can give some more glow to the hair with the yellows. Once again, this medium, and I use this transparent oxide yellow. And well, if you think, well, this is too much, wipe it off. I want more transparent oxide red in it. You see it coming a little bit here also. Hardly anything, but some. Maybe here is too much, so I take it off. Nothing wrong. If I would introduce more red on the cheeks, more crimson, or on the nose, let me see if it does the job. A little bit of crimson for the tip of the nose. Well, some accents here, a little bit. It makes simply the painting a little bit richer. Can I add more? Let me do here some more transparent oxide red. Well, now you see the way it looked before I started this glazing and the way it looks now. I think in the hair I did a good job. In the face you doesn't see so many changes, but it's still there. Well, I think this is it. I hope you like this video. Stay safe, keep painting, and see you in another video.
Hello, welcome to my channel. Brandon Castaneda here. Today I'm gonna paint a portrait of this beautiful image. Okay, the colors I'm going to use are titanium white, cadmium yellow hue, cadmium red hue, alizarin crimson, and ivory black. I'm leaving space here to put maybe ultramarine blue later. Okay, I'm gonna start just with a little bit of black with this filbert brush just to make it a sketch. Then I use this portion as a palette. And I'm gonna place the forehead here. Okay, let me see. You can see this shape is like a triangle here. It's kind of it's always easier for me to look for these simple shapes. That means I can place the face here. Okay. Maybe you know that I always prefer to go bigger. So maybe the top, okay, here. Okay, here's gonna be enough, and then After painting this, I can move yours over here on the palette. Okay. Yes, I think that's okay. Now the center line. One thing that you could use always is your brush to see if the center line is tilted to the left or to the right. This is really important. I mean, I always try to be very accurate with this center line. Something like this. Okay, hello Maria. Happy New Year. Hello Mervat. Hello Shodari. Hello Kusai. Oh, Mervat is telling me wonderful reference choice. Oh, yes, that, I mean, the measurements of a baby face is different. I mean, not that different, but I mean, mostly in the eyes, because I'm gonna make this now. And an adult, usually I go from the top of the head to the bottom of the chin, I look for the mirror. That's gonna be for the eyes. The baby, I gotta choose a little bit below for the eyes. It's because babies has, let's say, their faces are concentrated here, but they have like a bigger head. Okay, let's see, this is gonna be for the eyes, the eyebrows, and I try to follow the same measure from here, from the eyebrows to the bottom of the nose, and from the bottom of the nose to the bottom of the chin. Okay, since the eyes are a little bit lower and are bigger, this looks a little bit shorter than this. Okay. In an adult, the eyes is going to be like here. What makes this, the distance between this and this different? Okay. I'm going to mix first brown color, black, cadmium red hue, and yellow, red, yellow, and black. Trying to get kind of a, let's say the burnt umber, something close to burnt umber. Okay. Okay, the eyes are a little bit up. And squinting my eyes, just to try and looking for this. This is a simple shape, this. And now I will go make this. I'm gonna use my brush to make the same diagonal line. Okay, it's gonna be like here. Okay, now I continue squinting my eyes. I'm gonna look for the shape of the forehead. I'm gonna do like this. And now the shape here between the eyebrows and the nose. Something like this. There's a shadow here. I'm kind of drawing with, I keep my eyes squinted. Okay, now this shadow here, there's a space here. Now the mouth around. It's gonna be for shadow. Now with another brush I'm going to add, for me the best way to get like, because this is going to be like a classical approach, classical painting, I would like to get that classical look, like a museum classical appearance. I really would like, let's see if it's possible, but I'm going to mix some green first for the first layer. Okay, I'm gonna paint this all green. squinting my eyes, always trying to paint and draw at the same time, okay? A little bit lighter. That was too much white. Hello Margarita, hello Monique, hello Dita. Again, squinting my eyes again. Okay, now I'm gonna paint a portion of this. I have this image, I have this image, see in value. I have a bigger image to my left, I have the image in my computer. Remember, you need to have a lot of images. That is, when we paint something, we need to see this from different angles. If you can place another photo here, or even up or down, you have to do it. I mean, that's a reference. Don't paint using just your cell phone. I said that a lot of times because I have seen so many, I know so many people that they just love paint using their cell phones. And that's not enough. It's just putting an obstacles to yourself. Okay? I'm gonna use the same color. I'm gonna prepare more. I'm gonna paint this. No, I say that because painting portraits is not easy. It's really difficult. And when we just use our cell phones, that makes this even more difficult. I'll move this a little bit just to paint here. Okay, always thinking something simple. You see this geometrical shape. I see a triangle here. I don't need to see more.
We did it. With more rental listings than anybody else, it was just inevitable that you were going to find everything that you were looking for on apartments.com. I mean, come on, look at this place. It's got 12-foot ceilings, modern appliances, in-unit laundry, city views, free parking, host of good restaurants. Whoopsie, bing, bang, bing, biggity, diggity, diggity, and central AC.
How did you?
Apartments.com, the place to find a place.
Then when I got more here, then I started thinking about details and all of that. So first, it's always simplification. It's always simplified to a simple geometrical shape. That's what I love to use. Mostly a triangle. Because triangle, you can find a triangle everywhere. Now that I have something here, I mean right now it's a mess, but it's something. Yes, it's like having a sculpture. Yes, and it doesn't have any form, but or is something. You know, we want to mold that. We want to just carving out that sculpture until we get the form. Okay, now I'm gonna draw. I squint my eyes again, and I'm guessing the eyebrows here and here. The eyes around here. No, that's not okay. You know, I made this and I saw, because I feel this whole thing is okay. Now I'm gonna move all this is inside here, all the features, and the space for the forehead is too much. I'm gonna move the eyebrows up. Okay. It looks better, this shape. Okay. Now the eyes, I'm gonna paint the eyes a little bit up.
You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna do this.
It's around here.
Um,
It looks more like this. Now I see this shape. Now I'm gonna just, let's say, zoom out, zoom in, zoom out my vision. I'm gonna see this. Okay. Then I came here with my triangle for this. Okay. I'm gonna paint here some eyes because it looks kind of scary right now. Let's try to guess the eyes here and here. Okay. Oh, hello, Dita. Cornelia, hello, Cornelia. Archie, why is there sound on coloring? Okay, no, that's my, you mean maybe my brush against the canvas. The sound is really strong. Hello, Joselo. Monique is asking me, have you considered writing a book on our painting techniques? Well, that would be something that would be too much effort. I mean, that would be a lot of work. And to be honest, it's like I don't have like a lot of, let's say, but I don't know how to explain, but I think that any painter, that would be maybe a dream come true if we can, if any painter can publish a book. Maybe one day. Okay, now I concentrate here. I'm going to look for the lights. Okay, you can see lights. One light is here. Now the other one is here. Okay, I'm trying to calculate the distance from here to here, and I can make this here. Okay. Now here, the tip of the nose. The eyes around here. I'm gonna try to guess the highlight on the eye. Let's see. There, and let's see here. Around here. Okay. Maybe there. Let me change to another brush. Hi Maggie. Hi Trevor. Hello Steve. Monique, how about a book of your portrait? Oh, that's a good idea. That's a really good idea. Yes. Okay. Yeah, I think I will do that. Okay, now I'm gonna see this portion. You see, if you close this, you can see something like a shape like this. Okay. Now the mouth. I'm squinting my eyes, like from the beginning to this stage, and I've been squinting my eyes like 90% of the time, maybe even more, maybe 95%. And the rest 5% is just fun, but just to read the comments.
No. That's not it.
Okay, now I'm gonna start thinking about the skin color, because I have this green. I could be kind of relaxed just by mixing some orange, because I know this orange is gonna get mixed with this green, and between both I'm gonna get, let's say, some mirror skin color.
Grab my hand!
Wait, are you sweating? Think you don't spice dry spray?
Of course I did. I'm not an idiot.
Lie to me, Dr. Lundgren! Sit right here! Old Spice has long-lasting sweat protection!
I'm telling you, I used to. Okay, I lied.
How do I get out of this place?
Okay, and just here, I'm watching just this portion. Okay, the light here, the light here, light. Okay. Now I'm going to move here. I'm going to use a bigger brush. it's just one color, and what I do, I change. Remember, I change the pressure. Here I can go more lightly. I mean, don't pressure that too much here. And without even touching, I can blend. And here I can press more. I can leave more of this color. Okay. Gary, how do you learn English? I also want to learn Spanish to watch your other channel. Okay, I mean, I learned English, well, I think, was, I mean, here in Peru, we studied English from very young age, but that's, I mean, the education is not that good, it's not so good. After so many years in studying as a kid, you're not able to speak or understand. And but when I went to New York it was about 17 years ago, I spent 1 year in New York. That's where I learned the most about English. It wasn't enough, but I think it was my foundation. And from there, I'm practicing, trying to find partners, and watching a lot of TV in English. I remember when I went to New York, when I was there the first day. I mean, now I can laugh, but that time it was so difficult. That was so difficult. I mean, nobody understood me. It was so difficult, but the good thing that there in New York, there are a lot of people from different places. And
what's up, y'all? Culture Kings Vegas coming very soon.
Culture Kings, and they're opening up one in Vegas. My territory, my hood. Vegas Culture King stores opening there.
you can find always somebody that speaks your language. Okay, I'm going adding a little bit of red here to make the lips here. I remember the second day that I was in New York, I went out to see the museum, the Metropolitan Museum, because that was I couldn't stop thinking about going to the Metropolitan Museum. And when I was in the subway, and I was about to 5-6 blocks to get to the museum, and I saw a couple of guys with a lot of paintings, is in the subway, and I said, "Oh my God!" And both of them, they look Latin guys, and I said, I started getting close to them, and they were speaking Spanish. And one of those guys speaking, they has like a Dominican accent, like a Venezuelan accent, Puerto Rican accent is kind of similar. And when the other guy started speaking, he has a Peruvian accent. I said, "Oh my God, this guy is from Peru." And just by the impulse, when they went out from the subway,
I'll finish later, y'all.
after then, and I told them this. "Hey, hello, my name is Renzo, the painter too." And they were like,
Gonna take a break, let my eyes rest.
staring at me like.
Get back at y'all in a minute. That's not bad for 2 hours.
They didn't know what to say.